So another Andy B 2-minute video, thinking about apples falling into the garden. Our garden is kind of a grounds, it's beautiful. We've got apple trees, we've got different trees actually, and we've had some very, very strong winds of late, which have pushed a lot of the apples onto the floor. Now, we've seen them falling over time, some very, very tiny. And of course, the longer you let those apples sit on the tree, getting more and more ripe, the bigger they become, the more useful they become if you want to make an apple pie, if you like that sort of thing. I don't, but that's fine. And what we've seen is recently, deer come through. Groups of deer just wander through the garden and they start munching on the apples. Saw a crow flying off with an apple. Not the biggest one, not the smallest one either. Quite interesting to watch. But this is the thing about our lives, isn't it? We don't do well as people waiting for God to help us come to ripeness, to being fully matured. We want to get there straight away. We've seen it with children, haven't we? With our own children. We try and help them to learn to walk or ride a bike. And what do they want to do? They want to go mountain biking. Well, they haven't actually got rid of the stabilizers yet. They need to learn to mature in that ability of cycling. It's the same with walking. You put a child, help them to stand up, and they want to run and they want to do all these amazing things, but they need to learn to walk first. And as they mature, as they ripen, so to speak, they then begin to be able to walk better. And this is our lives. We are not necessarily naturally inclined to wait for God to help us to ripen and mature. We want to get there before we have to be there. We want to just arrive. But life isn't like that, is it? Are you patiently waiting for God to help you to ripen? Just like the apples on the tree outside of my window, it takes time for those apples to ripen. And they fall on the floor and they can be eaten by insects. But if you get it right and you can pull them when they're nice and ripe, now you've got really good apples. And that's our lives. So much of the time is waiting for God to help us come to ripeness, to maturity, so we are more useful. Don't rush through trying to be a fully grown-up apple. It's just not going to happen. You need to allow the seasons to come and go, for the sun and the rain and the moonshine and all that stuff needs to happen around you in order to come to maturity. Don't rush being patient while waiting for God. Just a thought.